All righty. Welcome to the Standard Podcast, where we raise the bar, rebuild the culture, and call out the lies no one else will. This isn't motivation. This is a movement. I'm Thomas Rowe, joined by my host, Aaron Charles, and here with Geremy Davis, former NFL wide receiver and founder, CEO of Golf and Gospel LLC and Training 148. After 6 years in the NFL, Geremy has transitioned from football field to building a business that combines competition, entertainment, and faith. From training the next generation of wide receivers and tight ends in Phoenix area to creating a golf community rooted in gospel. Geremy's journey is about refusing to quit, trusting the process, and building a legacy that goes far beyond the game. We're diving into the truth behind what it really takes to build an identity, discipline, and legacy in sports and in life. Let's get into it. Geremy, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Super happy to be here, man. Happy it all got scheduled up well, obviously due to my fault, but we're here.
Right on. Awesome. You went from the NFL to founding Golf and Gospel and Training 148. What does raising the standard mean to you, especially as you're building the new chapter?
Yeah, man, great question. So, first off, just in regards to raising the standard, obviously I'm speaking from an athlete's perspective, man. I think there's been a lot of times I've seen, at least in this generation, I hate saying that because it makes me sound old, but it's a little bit too much complacency with not putting in full effort and kind of just hoping that it turns on randomly on a Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, whatever you're playing your competition. And man, we got to learn how to sow more into the craft and the ability that the Lord has given us. I think far too much people are starting to abuse that. And you end up leaving your sport saying like, man, he almost reached his ceiling. But man, I want players to start to be able to reach their ceiling plus more. And again, just stop being complacent with just being okay or just hoping your raw talents come to life, man. So we got to learn how to not just be, again, complacent with the raw talents, but man, like working on those things so they just kind of become like your natural, born skill set per se, and not just kind of just be too depending on what like you hope can happen. And just when I play, man, I just want to maximize every full gift that the Lord has honored me with, man. I didn't want to abuse that skill set. So I think we need to change it and start to take full advantage of the gifts that he's given us, both on and off the field. But obviously, specifically, we're talking about, I know a lot of things in sports. So we got to hone on it and hone on to that a little bit more and stop being okay with hearing like, okay, well, hopefully he reaches this ceiling, but like, man, let's reach it. Let's actually get to it. Let's work to get to it. And let's not wait till game 5 of your senior year to try to like turn something on, man. Let's work at it now.
Awesome. I hate to use the word lie, so let's call it misconception. What do you think is the biggest misconception the culture of the NFL system sold athletes about life after football?
Oh man, I feel like that's tough because it all depends on who you are. Obviously, you want every player, no matter what sport they're actually playing, but obviously we're specifically talking about football, know that their identity is not solely in just being a football player. Like, yeah, understand that is your occupation, that is what you're currently doing, but you have so much more value outside the sport. I think the sport can help you get a good head start on things in life, but not to be so consumed with this is all I am, because unfortunately, outside of really the game of golf, which has the longest longevity in terms of sports, football, basketball, any other sport comes to an end pretty quick, depending on who you are. Sometimes it can come to an abrupt ending. Some people don't expect to be done after year 2, but an injury may happen, or some people may be in year 5 and they get cut, and it can come to an abrupt ending. If you're so consumed with saying like I'm only this, it can be very detrimental to your post-playing career. And I wish that certain coaches would do a better job in promoting that. I think too many times some coaches can be very selfish because like, I need you to do this for me now. We're going to use all the skills that you have. And then once you're done, I'm just going to cut you or just ship you off to another team. But letting guys know that there's more outside of football, allowing guys to go and network and seeing what other abilities and skill sets they have. And obviously, like, at least for me personally, like, if I were to go learn a different skill set or like have interest in other things, it wasn't going to distract me. I know what my job is to play football at this moment. But man, football, especially NFL, not for long, right? It's such a small part of your life and you have this much to go. So man, it's like, help me prep for like this much of life that I have left and not have me so consumed with this much of life.
Right, exactly. How did that misconception show up in your journey, and what truth do you believe needs to replace it?
Well, for me personally, I've always known that my identity is in Christ. So regardless if I was in an NFL jersey or out of an NFL jersey, that still holds true. I know for me personally, I kind of wish that I would have learned a skill set while being a player, but I was so in fear of being cut that I never did. So although I knew where my identity lied, I was probably a little bit too consumed with like, I'm an NFL player. I got to try to get what I can at this moment, and doing anything else outside this is a distraction. I wish I had more contentment and peace in regards to that, but I didn't. But, once I came to like hone in on that and understand that, there was a lot more contentment in my life post playing football. And I think that's something that all players, no matter what sport it is, need to learn how to train themselves in while they're currently in their sport. And again, there's no danger in that. You're not neglecting what you're doing. You can still go out there, have 5 catches for 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, whatever it may be. Go ahead and drop 30 points on your opponent, but still know your identity doesn't lie in your sport, man. So I don't think you're abusing it by having other aspirations. You can still have it as your priority, but still be building towards other things. So I hope people come to like learn that without having the fear of the repercussions. Because like, again, some coaches just they do a bad job kind of stewarding that amongst their players and stuff like that, and more so kind of threaten them not to do it because they want them to be so fixated on the sport. And I think that trains the athlete really bad, because now they only think that's all I am, because if I try to do something else, they will say I'm distracted and they'll try to cut me. So now I have to not do those things and just be focused on that. And it's like, I hate that that's a thing. I really do.
Yeah, that's tough. It's not the first time that we've heard that. I'm going to turn it over to Aaron. Aaron, go at it. It's your turn to attack him.
There we go.
Okay. Well, he's so great to talk to. It's not really, we're not attacking him. We want his great insights. I love it.
There we go.
So you've built 2 businesses, Golf and Gospel, Training 148. Beyond the titles and the businesses, who is Geremy Davis, and how would you define character, integrity, and discipline?
Well, yeah, I will say, Geremy Davis, I am a disciple of Jesus Christ who I love thoroughly so much. And my main goal is to get people to know him. And I think that can obviously be done through sports, man. Obviously, Golf and Gospel is built on sharing the gospel through the game of golf, as well as Training 148 is based off the scriptures of 1 Timothy 4:8 that says physical training is indeed good, but training for godliness promises benefits in this life and the life to come. And I want to make sure that I'm training people also in the sport, but also outside of the sport. So that is my mission. That is who I am. And I want to make sure everything that I'm doing as Geremy Davis is reflective of the gospel. Sorry, what was that second question, Aaron?
How would you define character, integrity, and discipline?
Okay, yeah. So I think all those things kind of work in conjunction with one another, man. And it's just pretty much being very strict in regards to what it takes to meet those goals, man. And I don't think that it's corny. I don't think it's lame. I mean, you have structure in your life. Structure is a really good thing. And a lot of times, a lot of players, when we're done playing sports, man, we lose that structure. We lose the discipline. I think it's something that, again, that's good to train. I think you should start training yourself to be disciplined at such a young age, whether that's middle school sports, high school sports, and parents should start instilling that into their kids too, especially if they know their kids have high aspirations to become, whatever level they want to reach. They want to be a great high school player, discipline, structure, character are super important. If they want to be a great college player, those same things apply, so on and so on. And I feel like if you don't do those things, it goes back to what it says in where you reap what you sow. You want to make sure you're sowing in all those things in terms of character, discipline, and structure. If you're not, you're not going to reap the harvest that you want. And I think that's something, again, we need to be cognizant of as athletes and see the value and importance of those things. Because, again, it's all about bearing good fruit, man. And you hope that's in your sporting profession as well as you hope it's outside your sporting profession. So just being very schedule oriented, being very precise in how you watch film, how you eat. And I know people hear it every day, but like that is indeed the formula. Like just because you hear repetitive all the time doesn't mean it doesn't work. You know, for me, I always say if someone says God is good, you hear it all the time. It still holds true to what it is. So when we instill those structures into our athletes, into our students, like just because you heard it before does not change that the fruits that come from it. So I think all those things need to be obviously instilled in every athlete from youth all the way into an adult.
I love that. No, you're spot on. It becomes the execution piece of it. Yeah, you can hearing it, but it's like, okay, now you have to apply it.
Yeah. And don't let it become mundane. Like I said, if you have to wake up every day at 6 a.m., like 6 a.m. again, like you're sowing good things, man. You're going to see a harvest. Don't let the things that have huge value that are repetitive be boring. Like sometimes boring is good. Like in a game of golf, boring golf is good golf. If I'm off the tee in the fairway, hitting the green, 2-putting, that's good. It may seem boring, but there's fruits in it. You keep on doing it. You keep on doing it.
Such great advice. I love it. Yes, you reap what you sow. So you have to keep planting those seeds.
Yes.
And water it, and not be digging up the seed going, this isn't working. No, you have to just keep showing up and doing it, which is so important. What does legacy mean to you beyond the performance? Like, what do you want your legacy to be?
For me personally, like I said, character's huge, man. I want to make sure that people remember me as how I reflect the gospel. I want them to remember how I shared the gospel. I want them to remember the work ethic I put into just life, not just football. I wasn't a big time player by any means, but like doesn't mean your legacy ends just because you didn't have like this statistical success that you wanted to see on the football field. How do I still influence, the younger generation? How do I treat my wife, man? I want people to be like, man, all those things are reflective to what the gospel says or what the word of God says, and he is applying those things consistently. And one of my favorite scriptures is Matthew 5:16. It says, let your light shine before others that they may see your good works, but they may glorify God who's in heaven. And that is ultimately my goal just throughout life and just how I reflect him and how I want people to come to know him. Because for me personally, I believe that the way I walk out the faith can have huge implications on if someone else comes to know Jesus. The way that I work in the game of football can have huge implications on how someone else trains. The way that I network or do anything can have huge implications on how someone else navigates just throughout life. And, I want to leave that legacy. I want to have that character that people can say, like, there's a reason why Geremy does this, and it's because of his devotion to the word of God and who he believes Jesus is. So that's how I choose to leave my legacy.
Nice.
I love it. So one of your favorite quotes, I believe, is Apostle Paul, do not grow weary of doing good.
Mm-hmm.
That in due season you will reap. And if you do not give up, what's one truth you wish every youth athlete, young athlete, or coach or leader understood about perseverance?
Yeah, again, like what you just said, there's fruits in that, right? Sometimes things can get exhausting. You can be on a losing streak. You can be, not making the sale that you want to make in whatever avenue that you're in. But your consistency is consistently knocking and it's building a foundation. I think now, again, in this generation, I think we're too quick to like run from adversity or try to go into something new. And this is my issue kind of with the portal to a degree, because, back when I played, if a coach gets on me, actually coaching me and yelling at me, it's like, okay, I got to thug this thing out and move on from there. Nowadays, it's like, okay, well, a coach coaches a guy, yells at him. It's like, oh, you talking to me like that? I'm in the portal. It's like, bro, he's coaching you because he wants to see you get better, man. We got to learn how to like persevere through tough coaching, bro. There's nothing wrong. Now, I think the portal does have value. Yes, say if you're in your third year and you're not going to be a starting quarterback, then go see what's out there. But like nowadays, man, we're so quick to run to like the next opportunity. Just if something doesn't work out immediately, like we don't enjoy the grind. I can't remember the analogy I heard, but essentially, like, man, if you have a drip of water just consistently hitting the same spot, you might not see like an effect right away, but at some point it's going to start to make a dent. And we're just too impatient to see that dent being made. And I think just because what we see on social media, we see overnight success. We just think that's supposed to happen for everybody. But man, the consistent grind of just going and going, you're going to see fruit. Like the work I put in from 7 years old until I was drafted at 23, like, man, that wasn't overnight. Like, I steadily kept working and working and working. If I wanted to play on the field, I had to get better at special teams. It pretty much took me a year to get really good at special teams. And I didn't go like, all right, the special team things ain't working. This is stupid. I grinded it out with Coach George Stewart, man. And that's a coach who took time to sow into me. He wasn't impatient. 2018 had one of the best NFL seasons I've had as a special teamer. So you're going to see your fruit if you stay persistent, man, especially if the Lord has called you into that position. Keep grinding, man. Don't run just because you don't see the immediate success. Like, just keep on going. And at some point, you're going to see a fruit. You're going to see a harvest.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've always heard that one of the best definitions of boredom is consistency, right? You just got to keep grinding for sure.
It is boring. It is super boring. But again, we just got to have our mind on, like, be fixated on the outcome or on the good thing that comes from that, right? If you're working out and eating chicken and veggies is super boring, but envision that six-pack abs, envision that summer body, knowing that that's the fruits that come. It doesn't come overnight. I mean, nowadays they got all this Ozempic and stuff like that, but like the steady grind of like eating good and envision the visualizing your health and your body, like, be fixated on that continues to help you push towards, the fruits that you will get from that, and just push through the boredom. Because like I said, being disciplined, all that stuff is boring, but the reward is great. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, this better than any, right? You just gotta, you gotta keep running those routes. You gotta keep getting the reps. So it just becomes second nature. You don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
If you could sit down at a table of four where it's Geremy the high school recruit, Geremy the college player, and Geremy the NFL player, what would you tell those three Jeremys right now?
Ooh, what would I tell them? Am I giving them advice or what am I doing here? I mean, I guess if I had to just, go answer just a question, I would tell them to keep going. No matter in what situation they're in. Again, you see fruits from your hard work. I know it might not be visible right now. You might not see it in your sight, but you're almost over the hill. And I would say, good job for what you're doing. You could have quit. You could have followed the crowd and, did what other people have been doing. You could have, gave up on the things the Lord has put on your heart because you didn't see the earthly success right away, but you stay persistent, man. And that's a good job being the outlier in regards to, what the world may want to see or want you to do, and keep pushing, bro. And at some point you're going to see a harvest. Right on.
When did you know it was time? Like, okay, whether it was a calling from God or you just felt it.
Okay. Yeah. For me, I didn't. Like I said earlier, like, sometimes that stuff comes to an abrupt ending and you don't want it to. So for me, one thing I kind of battle with even to this day is I don't feel as if my worth ethic matched my statistical success, and my statistical success did not match my worth ethic.
Oh, wow.
And like I said, if you guys talk to any other NFL player, dog, and this might be controversy, and I don't care, and they say they worked hard, I want you guys to remember me and say, dang, Geremy worked 10 times harder than what they ever did. And it was always frustrating because it's like, man, if you look at my numbers, I only had like 22 special teams tackles in my career and like 5 catches, 59 yards. You like, yo, that does not make sense. So my whole thing in life is like, well, as an NFL player, I'm like, yo, I have to see the fruits of my hard work. I have to see this 1,000-yard year, or, I got to see a season where I get 4 touchdowns. And I had one last bad hamstring pull. And I believe the Lord was calling me out of the sport. And I had to sit there with myself and say, man, if it was the Lord's will for me to have 5 catches for 59 yards and 22 special teams tackles, then you know what? I can be happy I fulfilled the Lord's will. And I understand those stats aren't sexy at all. But again, playing in the league 6 years, man, a lot of people don't get that opportunity to do that. So I got to play at that high level. But in answering your question, yeah, it just came to an abrupt ending. I really thought I was going to see more in the statistical category for me because of the work that the guy put in. But the Lord called me out of the game, and, you know, I grieved for a short bit. But again, I knew my identity lied in him and not in the sport. And I knew there was a lot of things I can do outside of the sport with the entrepreneurial mind that he's given me and giving back to the game of football through how I train the youth and how I train them up in godliness and how I coach in high school football. So came to an abrupt ending, but like I said, I'm happy more of my identity lies that it wasn't really, the grieving wasn't as longing as, you know, some people do suffer through. Mine, I probably just took time for like a week to grieve because, like, I played this since I was 7. Like, I think there's an appropriate time where you should grieve for certain things, and then after that, it's time to get going. And
Right.
I had the mindset to get going and see what the Lord wanted me to do after. And, you know, pretty content with where life is now. Still hopeful for some of the things we're grinding for, but I'm not going to quit. They're boring things that I'm doing, but I think at some point I'm going to see a fruit, and I hope the fruit looks the way I'm hoping that it can possibly look. So
Awesome. So now that as someone who's transitioned out of the NFL and is building businesses and training young athletes, what's the one thing you're trying to make sure that they understand that you had to learn the hard way?
Ooh, that I had to learn. You know, it's funny. Okay, this is what I would say. Yeah. The thing that I want to make sure they learn, especially because majority of the people, I have maybe 2 NFL guys I've trained, a few college guys, but I get a lot of like high school and middle school kids. I always say take full advantage of what you're doing in middle school and high school, because this is honestly the last time the sport is pure before it becomes business in college and NFL. Granted, yes, the sport can still be fun in college and NFL. I'm not trying to take away from that, but the purity of the sport, man, comes to an end. So I'm like, you guys have to fully enjoy it. I think a lot of times kids get too fixated on like, I gotta get this offer or I gotta get this. And it's like, bro, have fun. The offers will come. And
Right.
when you put that at the forefront, and I'm not trying to knock there's a goal, like have a goal. You should want to get an offer, but when you put that at the forefront, it's like kids aren't playing as loose as they can. They're playing too stressed, too tense, because they're playing not to mess up, and they should just play to have fun, man. Just trusting, you know, the coaching you're getting. I'm hoping you're getting good coaching. With that being said, but trusting the coaching again, just go out there, hang loose, and have fun, man. And I never talk about offers to my kids. I hope they get them. I really do. And if I see their skill set, I'm just like, I try to send it to many coaches as I can. But it's like, man, just have fun, because this is the last time the sport is pure. You're gonna get to college, becomes business. Unfortunately, man, it can still be fun, but it becomes so business heavy that it's like it's not as pure as you would like it. And the same thing for the NFL. So, you know, that's one thing I think I did take advantage of as a high school kid. But I want kids to come know that, like, do not abuse the youth that you have in football, man, especially high school, middle school, because it changes a lot once you get to college in the NFL.
Right. You know, what's interesting is we were talking to another wide receiver like yourself, and I asked him, I said, how is it and why did you pick Division II versus Division I? And he's like,
Wow.
I want to play. I wanted to play. And he's like, if the NFL was in the cards, if it was the Lord's work, then that's what I would have done. But I just wanted to play. And I thought, to have that insight, because we're so seduced by D1, right? We want to
For sure.
We want to go to the big programs. We see it every Saturday at Ohio State, Notre Dame, USC. But he's like, I just wanted to play. I wanted to play the sport I loved. And if that was in the cards, that was in the cards.
Right.
So let's turn it over. Aaron, I got a text from Aaron. Aaron, are you back?
I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm here. So I get to do the lightning round. So this is
Love
quick.
it.
You get to finish my statement. So discipline equals.
Being different.
Oh, I like that. Leadership equals.
Character.
Faith equals.
Believing the unknown.
Legacy equals.
Remembrance. Did that make sense?
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I love that. What's one thing you would never compromise on?
Oh, my faith. No, yeah, at all. No, I'm rooted in that, and I'm built on a firm foundation. Would never do anything outside of that.
I love that. I think I was kind of guess the answer, but I was like, you just tell the audience. And what's one message, if you could put it up on a billboard for the next generation, that you would put up there?
Whatever you do, work wholeheartedly as for the Lord, not for man. So if he's giving you a talent, work hard at that.
Love it.
That is awesome. One of the things that we talk about, Geremy, is, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your performance, right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
There's been so many times, and I've had to learn the hard way, where I've gone to God and I said, "Hey God, this is how this is going to break down. We're going to do it like this. We're going to do it like this, and we're going to do it like this." And he just kind of looks at me and goes, "Okay, go with it. Let's see how that works out for you."
Yeah, that's hilarious.
When you're humbled enough to go back to him, it's just great because he accepts you back in and he goes, "All right, my son, let's get to work."
Absolutely.
So before we wrap up, and you've been awesome, and thank you for your time. Is there something we didn't touch on today that you feel athletes, parents, and coaches need to know and hear?
I think I touched on everything about the importance of enjoying the purity of the sport, reaping what you sow. I think that you need to be coachable, but not play for your coaches, if that makes sense. Like,
right.
When you start playing for coaches and playing for fans, man, their relationship with you is so conditional. If you're doing good, I love you. If you're not, I don't like you. But the Lord says, man, I love you regardless. The Lord wants you to play well. Don't get me wrong. But his relationship and how much he loves you is not based on how well or how bad as you played. But again, that's still promoting kids to work hard to play well, because like I said, I don't want you abusing the skill sets that he's giving you. You need to honor the Lord on the field or on the court or on the golf course, whatever you may be doing with the talents that he's giving you. And whatever the outcome may be, you can be content that you play to the fullest of your ability that he's giving you, and know that the Lord loves you if you won, lost, or if you 3-putted, drop the pass, no matter what it is. But work hard at those things and stay true to that.
That's tight. Where can people connect with you and learn more about Golf and Gospel or Training 148?
Yeah, Training 148, just find it on Instagram under Training 148. Golf and Gospel. My website has crashed, but we'll get that back up. But you can go to golfandgospel.com or just go to YouTube and type in Golf and Gospel, and you'll find that, and our podcast, Golf and Gospel Podcast, which that one we're just nerding out about golf. So if you're a golf head, we'll love to talk to you guys about golf. But Golf and Gospel is the show where I compete against guests, share the gospel, and we talk about other cultural topics, man. And my whole thing was that I want to feel like the audience who's watching is in the golf cart with us, riding along just with some, normal conversation. So they can find me on those things. But I'm hoping my website is fixed, in the next day or two. But yeah, absolutely.
Right on. Aaron, take us home.
Okay, I'll take us home. Thank you so much, Geremy, for sharing your story and your truth with us. If this conversation challenged you, inspired you, or made you made you think differently, I want to ask you 2 things to do. 1, share the episode with somebody that needs to hear it, an athlete transitioning out of their sport, a parent supporting their kid through adversity, or a coach teaching perseverance and faith. And 2, please go connect with Geremy on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on YouTube. Check out his website, Golf and Gospel. Whether you're in the Phoenix area, do you still do training in Phoenix?
Yeah. So I always tell kids after the season's over, like, decompress, man. Do not, if any coach that makes you train right after the season, I don't think they care about your well-being. I think they just want your money. I can understand if you're going to do some IQ stuff like watch film, do that. But take time after the season and decompress, go play other sports, go play basketball, go play track. And then at the appropriate time, we get back into football. So I typically don't start training guys to, honestly, probably like sometime in January, because playoffs here end sometime in November. Take time to decompress in December, and let's get back on the field in January. But we can watch film anytime. Film does not beat up your body at all. So, yeah.
True.
Awesome. So go check him out at Train 148. And if you are ready to get clear on who you are beyond the game, connect with Thomas and I at blueprintbluechip.com. We'd love to work with you. We are here to help reset the standard when it comes to character, integrity, and discipline. And if this episode resonated with you, take 30 seconds, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. It helps us reach more athletes, parents, and leaders who need this message. This is the Standard Podcast, and this movement only grows when we raise the standard together. Talent fade, but truth endures. Raise the bar, rebuild the culture, become the standard, and we'll see you next time.